Hey, just imagine that instead of saying what I'm saying now, I was talking about your business. Or perhaps you were talking about your business. You can advertise on About Basingstoke's podcast network for less than you might think. Just email info@aboutbasingstoke.com to find out more. About Basingstoke is Basingstoke's podcast network, proudly supported by IncuHive, the place to be for startups and small businesses. With virtual offices, desk space, offices and meeting rooms now open at Brunel House, Stevenson Road, Hound Mills, Basingstoke. Visit incuhive.co.uk.
About Basingstoke.
Hi there, this is CLOKE Cooks, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by my good friend, Michelle Brewer. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Chris. I'm excited to be here.
I know. We're not going to talk about night outs in Basingstoke because that really, legally, we'd probably be arrested. A lot of people would be arrested. So we're going to stick to food today, if that's right. All about food and growing up in Basingstoke back in the day, as they say.
I'm a big foodie, so I'm happy to talk all about that. I've got a lot to say, as I'm sure you do.
Well, only give us a few minutes, really. We could be here for hours, but we can see what we can come up with. So one of the things I always sort of like to talk about is obviously it's food. And what would you say is the memory that you remember most of about growing up as a child? Would you say that is the sort of the big memory growing up in Basingstoke? You go, that was Basingstoke, that was food. What would you say it would be?
Proper roast dinner, like that was a real thing.
Yes.
But other than that, the rules were quite loose. Like you certainly didn't get given a choice for dinner. That was definitely like I feel like it was proper 80s style. You got what you were given and you ate it all or you starved. And cereal for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch.
Yeah.
Do you remember paste and sandwich spread and stuff like that? So nothing
paste.
Exotic.
No, that was quite exotic, really.
Yeah, sandwich spreads. That was wild.
Wild. I think one of the sort of things I always sort of think about now that back then food wasn't available 24/7. I was looking at this the other day and I was watching a little thing about obviously Sunday trading laws that basically supermarkets weren't open on Sunday. Boring places were open, but anything to do with food or anything, apart from the odd sort of restaurant potentially, but nothing was open. So I think it's but now food's available 24/7. We were growing up, it wasn't. You literally, like you said, you had your dinner and that was it, really.
We weren't taken out to dinner as children. Like I'm a mum now and I take my children, they get to go to restaurants all the time. They don't even see it as a treat.
Yes.
It was a huge family occasion. And my granddad was actually the mayor of Basingstoke back in the day. And to celebrate this, we had a huge family meal out at a restaurant. And I think that's the first time I'd ever been to a restaurant. It was a big deal. And it had to, becoming a mayor is the big deal. So that's how big a deal it had to be to go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
The Harvester was considered quite a fancy restaurant.
See, I was waiting how long before we mentioned the Harvester because
to be mentioned. It was such a big deal.
It was something important to go to Harvester. It was a big thing, wasn't it?
It was a huge deal. But as I became a bit older, like I'm talking teenager, they used to do this quiz night on a Wednesday and it was £1. It was only £1 and they fed you. So they fed you properly. There were chips, there were onion rings, chicken wings, corn on the cobs. And you only paid £1 to go in the pub quiz. So we ate really well on a Wednesday. But as a child, no, there weren't loads of options. I don't think I ate pasta until I was 19. Like that was super exotic. I remember the McDonald's arriving in Basingstoke and we just didn't go. My mum was disgusted. She was like, that's one of those American things. And I didn't even know what McDonald's was. It could have been a carpet shop for all I knew. But or pizza. I first had pizza when I was 15. So the food choices were quite limited.
Yes.
And this is no slight on anyone, but nearly everything was cooked in the deep fat fryer in my house, like apart from the Sunday roast.
Yes.
I remember microwave chips. I mean, that's disgusting.
You remember when they first came out, microwave chips in the little box?
Yes, in the box.
In the little square box and that, yeah. My word.
So I'm the eldest of 5 children. There's 15 years between me and my youngest brother. So I really remember him as a baby and what he ate, it was microwave chips and spaghetti hoops.
That's brilliant. That's
What he
to be
would
honest,
eat.
yeah. That is, to be honest, that's pretty good by today's standards, really. And I think we were sort of saying obviously about the harvest. I've got to go back to harvest because I still believe
Yes.
we could do a whole an hour about the harvest, but I remember
Yeah.
going as a child. It was always a special occasion. They'd bring over a bread basket. You choose the bread roll, and then you go to the salad bar, and that was so exciting. You should choose what you could have in it.
Yeah, you had the freedom of choice. But let me just say, this is still going on today. And I mean, long live the harvester. I take my children to the harvester and they love that, the salad bar, but
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
bring the bread basket round. It's
No,
just that it's not what it was, but
no.
they still get to choose at the salad bar, which they love. That's a thing.
It was very much core basis. And one of the things I do miss the old town centre. I think the old town centre had a lot of character, a lot of grey. But
It
what I
had a
love,
restaurant called the Mardi Gras. Did you ever go there? It was down
where
by
was
Mr.
that?
Munch. It was my granddad's favorite restaurant. That was the restaurant. It was very nice. It was down where Mr. Munch used to be back in the day.
Yeah, by the bus station.
Now, I don't want to say Woke Street Willie, the other one, when you went down there and then you went
Church
under
Street.
the subway. Yes. There was something on the corner.
Oh, this is going
What
back,
was there?
people.
Halifax. There was a Halifax under there. And it was in that bit.
In that
It was,
bit. But I
it was
remember
nice.
it was not. It's again obviously one of the sort of staples of Basingstoke. It's still there, and one of the things I do miss obviously is getting off the bus. Not that, again, I couldn't say the last time I was on the bus. But obviously at the bus station, obviously you get off the bus, obviously, and there'd be obviously the fish and chip shop there on the corner,
Yes,
and you'd get
but
that.
before the fish and chip shop was the sweetie shop with that lady in the hole in the wall. So there
Yes.
was
Oh, the
sweets.
chaos.
The
Yes.
kiosk. That was, I mean, slightly offbeat, but it sold sweets, didn't it? Which is the
Most important
diet of
thing,
choice
really.
for all children.
All children. And I was sort of like making some notes about this. It's quite professional for me. And do you remember, obviously, going to obviously like the sweet shop, and you go, for example, they'll have the sweet counter. You select choose the sort of penny chews, or penny sweets.
Yeah.
And you go, I'll cover 20 pound mix. I mean, a 20p mix, and they'll just choose 20p's worth of random sweets. We just don't see that
20
anymore.
sweets,
Yeah,
sometimes 30, because some sweets were only half a p,
exactly.
half penny sweet.
And there was so much about them bases. So it was one of those things, again, if you sort of went out to school at lunchtime, you'd probably nip to news agents and obviously you'd have that option. I remember that
Yeah.
was a big thing. It really was. And I think that's what I like about obviously about Bases. So we've got these memories of obviously food and as you're saying about the McDonald's turn up. But I remember obviously on a Saturday we'd go to the town centre, the market square, and my mum would buy me a sausage roll from the free cooks, and we'd eat that while traipsing around town.
So my uncle worked, there was a fish shop, there was a fishmonger, like when I was really small, and he worked there. And then he moved. I mean, he just stank of fish. But I think it's a real shame that we've lost shops like that, specialist shops that are
Special shops,
specialized. They could
absolutely.
probably charge a fortune now if they bought one of those back. So he worked there, but I didn't really like fish. So I was
No,
very pleased when he moved to the sausage roll shop. I can't remember which bakery he went into, but he moved into possibly the Three
oh,
Cooks. I don't know.
really? See, that's going back a bit. That was opposite
Yeah.
Nightjar. But now you try and walk. I don't know. I reckon 100 meters in Basingstoke without walking past a Greg's. They're everywhere.
Oh, that I don't eat Greg's. That's a complete lie. Yes, I do. I was trying to say that with a straight face. I tell you why I now say I have to say I eat it because just a couple of years ago I worked on a big business park in Birmingham. The only eatery there was a Greg's. It's outrageous, like this massive opportunity, and all anyone could eat was Greg's. That was all
Greg's.
there was for miles around. On a business park, it's outrageous. I remember the smells of Basingstoke. So obviously there was the chlorine from the sports
Oh,
centre, which
that
was
was to be honest.
very defining.
If we could bottle that and bring that smell back, and just sort of stand next to the sports centre, and obviously then you'd have Burger King as well. So Burger King, you'd go to the Burger King, or probably after, maybe go swimming, but just to walk through the town centre to have that smell of chlorine, it probably
Yeah.
wasn't good for us. I'll be honest, but
It's
I do miss
definitely
it.
not good for you. But it was the chlorine and the fish and chip shop by the bus station. Now, I'm not a fan of fish and chips, but all my friends were. So I did go in the fish and chip shop. You could take all of your copper coins, couldn't you, and just empty them out on the counter, and they would give you chips.
Which is just amazing. It's one of these things you look back now, you have to take a small mortgage to obviously buy sort of food. And that's, I think, one of the things that obviously back in our sort of day, we were quite lucky that if I had a paper round, I was able to fund quite a lavish lifestyle really off that paper round. I was obviously able to buy sweets, crisps. Sort of I could pay for it out of my own pocket. And I think that's, again, obviously fish and chips was another obviously sort of feasible thing that you could obviously afford to do. But now it's I think kids nowadays have got very much access to fast food. I could order some fast food now, and I'm sure he's listening. Charlie, who delivers, he's a guy who does a TikTok video. He'd probably be here in 5-10 minutes with my chosen sort of fast food. We never had that in Basingstoke. If you were going for fast food like Burger King, McDonald's, or even pizza at Brighton Hill Retail Park, you'd have to go there. It was no sort of delivery service, which is in a nice way because you just go, right, it was a bit of a day out with something special. As you said, like the Harvester and said other restaurants, it was a special occasion. I think everything's just too easy to go and get.
And also, it's stopped being special. So it's become functional, hasn't it? So you go through a drive-through, and the reason is just to, maybe you're hungry, you've been working too hard, you haven't been able to eat or something, and you have to go. And it makes me really sad that that's your option, because it's not real food. It's very, I feel really passionate about that. It's not real food. It's
no.
But if you're out on the road, which I know you are quite a bit, it's quite difficult to look after yourself properly and eat properly. And I remember my granddad nearly fainted when I said to him I bought a sandwich from the garage. So I think that was quite fancy. But again, I've been out and about, just thought I'd buy a garage sandwich. I wouldn't now, they're outrageously expensive. But, like a BLT or those nasty cheap cheese and onion jobbies, like that mush. I really used to like those.
Yeah, we were quite partial to that.
Like I went round to see my nan and granddad, and he said, "Oh, what? Shall I get you some lunch?" And I said, "No, I've just bought a sandwich from the garage." He was incandescent with rage. He couldn't believe that I had wasted money buying a sandwich. I get it now.
Yeah.
Like I just thought, what's his beef?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously not in the sandwich.
It's not, and I would never buy a beef sandwich.
No, I don't think we could. But it's one of the things, again, sort of takeaways, I think was a thing. We never had sort of takeaways back in the early days. It was a special occasion. I remember, obviously, it's someone's birthday, it was Christmas or something, we'd have a takeaway. And I think that's a thing we've sort of lost, the sort of magic of food in a way.
We don't get takeaways. Yeah, because it should be a treat instead of a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, Michelle, thank you so much for obviously joining me. I'll get a sort of wrap it up here because we could go on for quite a while, especially memories with obviously.
We've just got started.
We just got started. But we are going to be doing a part 2 where we'll be talking about obviously modern food as a mother and obviously as a father. Obviously, that'll be coming up in the next week or so. About obviously we'll be talking further on that as well, and obviously about Basingstoke. So what we're saying is, and I'll round this up, we want the smell of the chlorine back. We want all Greggs to be closed. No sandwiches in supermarkets, and the Harvester need to give us bread rolls and serve it to us, and that would be happy at that. And shops and supermarkets be closed on a Sunday. Really,
we'll take it.
We'll take it, and 10p mix. We want a 10p mix coming back.
Chris.
I literally am craving sweets now because of that. But no, thank you so much for that, Michelle. It's been great having you on. I've been Chris Cloke, and this is about Basingstoke with Cloke Cooks. Thank you so much.
Cloke Cooks is proudly brought to you by ProClean Direct, Hampshire's specialists in professional exterior cleaning. Whether it's render cleaning, roof cleaning, patios, driveways or commercial properties, ProClean Direct uses industry-approved cleaning methods that deliver long-lasting results without compromising your property. Led by Tech IOSH qualified Christopher Cloke with over 14 years' experience, ProClean Direct has even helped train others within the exterior cleaning industry. The company is a Which-trusted trader, carries £10 million public liability insurance, is DBS checked, holds an upper-tier waste carrier licence, and is committed to the very highest standards of safety, professionalism and customer care. To find out more, visit procleandirect.co.uk. That's procleandirect.co.uk.